but I brought some fresh idea in the agricultural economics field from a geospatial perspective.
How to articulate well your ideas, how to present your technology and solutions that easier for the stakeholder to understand and apply it, right?
Too is whenever you see a job application out there, treat it as like a wish list of what the company wants. And if you meet all those requirements, that means you're probably going to be overqualified to do it.
And expertise in a specific research techniques or methodologies and tools relevant to the position can be the most significant qualification.
One of the most pressing questions for me and our audience in today's session is the qualifications and work experience required to get in a specific job position. These criteria can differ between academia and industry. So could you please share with us what qualifications and work experience played an important role in securing your current job position?
I have very fresh memory, so I can start fast. I mean, compared to other panelists. So, yeah, so I'm taking this privilege anyway. I think that, I would say that, the position I applied for, the position was very clear that it was required someone who has applied economics, skill, natural resource management background, and energy background. And the project is governed by an economist, and his colleagues are also mostly economists. So I presume that this is a position for someone at least who has agricultural economics background or resource economics background. But I was not an economist, and I never had any solid background of economics. What I did, during my PhD, I had some economic analysis for my research, which is bioenergy crop adoption and its supply chain. So it's that I have used some economics tools, but still my research does not, follow the standard of economic research, I should say that. But what I presented, so I got shortlisted because of that it matched with the project requirement. They are focusing bioenergy crop, especially, sustainable aviation fuel and those kind of supply chain and adoption things. But I presented very clearly during my interview that, I presented them geospatial modeling for bioenergy economics. That was my title of presentation. I can still remember geospatial modeling for, geospatial technology for bioenergy economics, geospatial modeling for bioenergy economics. That was the title. So, and during the interview, I also I cleared them. I'm not an economist, but I brought some fresh idea in the agricultural economics field from a geospatial perspective. So that was the very, I think I should say that was the key factor that helped me to get this job. So yeah, and definitely I extended my previous GIS skill set that I learned before my PhD to data sciences. Like I learned I took some statistical courses during my PhD, and I finished a 16 credit data science courses from University of Georgia. So in this way, I learned programming skills. So I should say that, it's not just one solid skill that helped me, but definitely giving geospatial data science as a core, I learned something relevant things for them, and I bring those things on the table. That's why.
I'm inspired here by Kazi. I just want to add on that as well. The qualification and work experience that important to get my current positions. I think the first most is the same like Kazi as well, is education. So you need to have educations. It can be the educations. It doesn't mean that your career has to be exactly what you learn, but the one that I get my job is, I think, ESRI. That time I applied to ESRI. It's really like, do you know GIS? Have you taken GIS courses? And then I did it. I was a landscape planner, but I was a landscape planner. I studied the master in landscape planning, but I know GIS. I learned GIS on that. I think there's so many landscape planners as well, but I think there is one thing that I learned about GIS that can add value into how I got this job. So, so the degree is important, and I really feel now if you can, at least master degree. I mean, undergraduate is very general. If you want to really focus on it, at least do the master. PhD is another story. It takes a lot of time and energy on that. But the master one, I feel that I know more. I learn more in master instead of undergraduate. Undergraduate, you don't know why this chemistry, physics apply. But in master, like, oh, okay, I applied for landscape planning. That's help. The education is very important. On the top of that, nowadays, in the past, well, 20 years ago, there's not many GIS professionals, right? So I can easier get a job. But nowadays, it's so many students that graduate with GIS skills. But that's make the competition is higher now. So it's a lot of students come to me because I work with a lot of universities, engaging ESRI with university, and students like, I got PhD, I know GIS, I couldn't find a job. So there is a few things on the top of your education formally. You need to do more skills on the top of that. Like Kazi said, do programming, do volunteering, do a little project here and there that make you stand out compared with others. Okay, so for us in the industry, we always say like the qualification, we need this degree or equivalent experience. Okay, so little experience that you gain or you join this conference, you present in here, you doing this project, we summarize them all and see you as yourself instead of only like, oh, she has a PhD. Okay, so that's helped me getting that job that I have. And then one thing as well that I want to highlight in here is the soft skill. When you apply for a job or you get a job, especially in the industry, but I think everywhere as well, have that soft skill, how to articulate well your ideas, how to present your technology and solutions that easier for the stakeholder to understand and apply it. Right? Sometimes it's a little bit too far from each other. So know that and keep studying, keep, GIS 20 years ago is different with GIS today. I have to learn more from June how to do the GUI in GIS, right? So it's just the concept the same maybe, but the tools, it changed now. So you have to adapt. You have to know how to really keep up with the technology and trend. You keep innovative. You do you have to be creative and able to work again with independently or with teams.
I'm really liking all the feedback that we've been getting, and I want to say that sometimes I've noticed like in academia we tend to oftentimes like undersell our own abilities. It's kind of like, we have like, I have a PhD in geography. I'm like, oh no, but I'm not a remote sensing expert. You may not be a remote sensing expert in your department, but outside of it, trust me, you are. So I think sometimes it's kind of like having that point of reference can be it's important to keep in mind, right? I think also like sometimes that imposter syndrome can jump in too, especially when you work sometimes like with some of the greatest mind in the industry. You feel like you don't know anything, but compared to like somebody working in a particular sector in the industry, you do know a lot. So I think that's very important. And then about like, looking at the qualification, I think internships worked out great because it kind of helps you get a baseline of like, okay, how does your skill set translate to the real world? And more importantly, you can see like how valuable it is. In my particular case with like NASA Develop, it was fascinating to see how technically it's the same internship, but like where some of the participants and stuff were gravitating toward certain areas. And then like, and to translate and elaborate a little bit more, for example, at Planet, you have folks in marketing, pre-sales engineer, sales, customer success management, product management, like they all have geospatial background. So it almost determines of like where do you want to fit in there, right? We also even have like research scientists for a particular product. And the world is really, really wide. And it's trying to figure out, hone in on what it is that you like, what is it you can see yourself like doing from day to day. And one thing I wanted to like highlight too is whenever you see a job application out there, treat it as like a wish list of what the company wants. And if you meet all those requirements, that means you're probably going to be overqualified to do it. But more importantly, if you feel like you don't meet all the requirements, that's fine. Still apply, because you might still have something in there that is very valuable. And building off of what Canserina said, like the technical skills might get you to the interview, but really it's the soft skills ultimately that lead you to the next steps. Because technical skills are very easy to show on paper, like you completed a course, you completed an internship, you wrote a manuscript, all that can show technical skills. But then once you show up to the meeting and you can elaborate on how you worked as a team, how you came up with a solution, how you worked under pressure, or like, how you engage with stakeholders, those things are harder to translate on paper, but easier to communicate, like, on one-on-one. And keeping in mind that depending where you apply, they might just use different things to say the same thing, right? Like, like stakeholder engagement might look like, dealing with client issues or tech validation or tech support, right? Like it's always of like framing, and in some ways like almost marketing what you're doing, because you have those skill sets. And as a grad student, there's a lot of skill sets that you have that sometimes we take for granted. Grad students are very scrappy when it comes to like, independent learning, finding resources to do their own things, and more importantly, finding resources to answer certain questions that might seem like not cutting edge to you, but might be cutting edge to someone who's working on the industry. So yeah, like my biggest advice is like, don't ignore those soft skills. They're harder to show, to showcase on a resume or an application. But once you start working with people, like public speaking, right? That's a skill set that we're all going to have to do at one point, regardless of, if you're working inside a laboratory, you might have to like talk to a PI, or might talk to your program manager, or talk to other teams. It's all about communicating and how you communicate, and tailoring your message to your intended audience. So I would say, yeah, getting some experience outside academia works great, just to solely for the purpose of giving you a baseline of, like how knowledgeable you are. Because like I said, you might feel dumb around your colleagues, but trust me, you're not. And it's all about just building you up, and being confident about it. I know sometimes, like especially as an international student, you feel like you're at the mercy and at like any opportunity that might arise, since there are limited. But don't undervalue what you can contribute, and especially don't undervalue the achievements that you've done so far to get to this point.
I agree with actually whatever you said from the panelists. So, but I just want to emphasize that the expertise in a specific research techniques or methodologies and tools relevant to the position can be the most significant qualification. That's it. Because if you don't have degree, but if you have that skill, it means you're already experienced, right? It makes sense. So if you look at the qualification, there's a like maybe one sentence like, okay, whether you have if you have PhD, if not, but you have experience, that actually they check that. So yeah, that was the most important actually qualification aspect. And just think as a recruiter point of view, a team is looking for experts who actually can lead the field or support the project missions. So that qualification actually they include education background, research experience, and publications, and contribution to the community, and specialized skills, knowledge, and collaborative communication skills. Then those are not really invisible in a daily basis, but it's using like conference or social like this kind of social event will really help that demonstrate your communication skills well. So I received my PhD in computer science, and my expertise include spatial database, data science, and geospatial simulations. So with my expertise, I have been actively participating spatial database community, including ACM, SIGSpatial. So one important experience that really influenced to get my current position was attending this SIGSpatial conferences. So I was fortunate that I attended SIG Special 2019 to present my demo paper and also present my methodology for GISCOP, which is an annual programming contest, and also organize a workshop called GeoSim, Geospatial Simulation. And yeah, I had participate but for different 3 roles. So as the first place winner of the GISCOP, I could demonstrate both communication and also problem solving skills. And also in the demo session, I met actually the ORNL researchers who are interested in one of my research areas, namely patterns of life simulation that simulate human mobility in urban environments. So, and then organizing the workshop, it showed, the leadership of, okay, I'm leading this research field. It's a really good way to demonstrate your skill set as well. And before I joined the ORNL, I worked in PNL. It's another, also the DOE National Lab. That experience also beneficial to get the current position because I understand how the system works, how the organization works, and that easy to pitch idea. Okay, I will do this or do that. When you get a lot of the question from interview.